All right, everyone. It's been a few weeks here, working on some other stuff in the truck. I got it running and driving again. All happily took it around the neighborhood last night, so that's a plus. Take it up to my parents this weekend and finish up a couple things I needed a welder for. But yeah, for the foam samples, I'm getting there. Finally got all my vacuum stuff in. Got a little Harbor Freight 1-stage 2.5 CFM pump. Got some of the vacuum bagging film and tape. You know, in hindsight, I was playing with this last night with no glue, and I definitely would have made this a little differently. I would have had left one of the big sides open, and I need to come up with a closing mechanism. So that's all on the to-do list. But today, the last test I did with the pink foam was my 8-inch by 39-inch test coupon with both sides. I set it up over there to jump up and down on it. It worked great, but it had way too much glue. So I kind of want to dial in the amount of glue on these 3 test pieces. I'm just going to do one side, just the top side each. I've already sanded and scored them and wiped them off with a wet shop towel or damp shot towel to kind of help pick everything up. And so that's my process for those. And so I went for 0.4 grams per square inch on that overkill piece is what it all maths out to. This is per side, right? So 0.4 grams per square inch per side. And that comes out for these 8x8s, which I think are 8x8. I haven't actually checked. I'll measure it in a sec. That would be 25 grams per side. But like I said, that was overkill. So what I think I'm going to do is I'll mix up enough epoxy so that I can do a 20 gram, a 15, and a 10. Put it all in the vacuum bag, seal it up, let it be under vacuum for about a day. It's over 80 today. Right now it's 2 or 3 in the afternoon. And so the vacuum bag will be new. I'll be really interested to see how even of a result I get of a lamination. And in that effort, I have this I don't know what you call it. It's like a vacuum fill cloth kinda. It just helps. It's compressible, but it helps the air get pulled from everywhere, so you don't end up with pockets or uneven pressure in your vacuum bag. And then to make that last a little longer, because that stuff's surprisingly not cheap, I have some plastic bags that I've made tubes out of, just to coat each one of these. So the glue drips come and they go into the plastic bag, but it's still with the cloth around that plastic bag, it's able to pull a vacuum on this whole bag. So I'll get this epoxy mixed up. Probably just check back in once I've got it all in there and kind of walk you through the layers and how it was set up. So should be pretty straightforward. Eventually I'll need to come up with some sort of system or for the pump to cycle on and off. I'll probably just leave it running for a while and see how hot it gets. Come check on it. But yeah, that's where we're at, doing glue, how much glue per surface area, with the goal of finishing a big sheet. I have about a 6 foot by 4 foot sheet of this Foamular 400 left in there, along with the requisite fiberglass skin. And that'll be my, my final test. Is I'll make a big panel, and go from there, and then be confident in buying some foam. So, all right, wish me luck. All right, here we go. Just a quick clip. Got them all poured out in their bags, they're just tubes of plastic. And this is that breather cloth. I think that's the term I was talking about. So I just fold it up and over. And then now I'm going to stick this whole assembly into the vacuum bag underneath it. And that'll be, fun. All right, well, here we are. Got them all stuck in there. Not sure how well those bags stayed in place, but I definitely, felt with my fingers to make sure that the fiberglass sheets are on top of the foam. And so we're good. We're ready to start pulling a vacuum. Let that run. Hopefully that's not just horrendous, but there we go. We can see it starting to suck down already. Oh, I really should have... One sec. Sorry, I had to adjust the breather cloth to get it as close as I could to the thing. I still might need to fix that, but there we go. Look at this little... Stuff's crazy. It's like freeze-dried backpacking food if you've ever seen that. But here, yeah, we can already see that's gonna be a little shitty. That's the cloth, the cotton cloth soaking up the epoxy. But you can see it it packs right down. It really gets a good vacuum going. I mean, this stuff is almost a solid piece. So I do have a vacuum check valve on here, but my bag construction is not the greatest, as I'm sure anybody who knows this stuff and is watching this video can tell. But it certainly works. It holds it for, you know, a good couple of minutes. So what I might do is I'll turn it off and see how it holds. You know, it's not going to leak down immediately, but I'll let it sit here and kind of hang out outside for a bit, keep an eye on it, and see how it goes. Maybe I'll have to come out every 30 minutes, or I'll just leave the pump running like I said earlier and plug it into the house instead of I'm running it on my off-grid system. You can kind of see in there, get some of that zoom action. Bunch of lithium battery banks with an old UPS, so most of my tools I get to run off the sun, which is kind of fun. But yeah, I'll report back, let y'all know how this goes. Alright everybody, I finally got a tripod so I can do a decent time lapse or something. And so here we are. It is Tuesday. Last clip was Thursday. And here are the test coupons out of the vacuum bag. Some things worked well, some things didn't. I had coated each one of these in a small amount of plastic to try and prevent the glue from seeping out, but lo and behold, as I maybe should have thought of, it's a vacuum bag, so it just squeezes everything tight, and if there's extra volume to get squeezed out, it'll get squeezed out somewhere. So that didn't make a huge difference, and so it ended up in some of the parts, this, you know, I guess vacuum spreader cloth, breather cloth, that's the word, breather cloth. And so I don't know how I'll solve that in the final one. You know, it's not a deal breaker if this cloth becomes a consumable, but I'll probably try and find some creative way to put a little bit of the breather cloth down in the right areas so that it can soak up the glue without getting the big sheet of it damaged. Or maybe I'll try peel ply or something. And so here we are. So these are grams for the whole surface at 8x8. And I think none of these are actually 8x8, but so many grams I used. Surprisingly, the 10, which I thought would have just definitely been not enough, had overflow on almost every edge. Looks like I'm a little light in this one edge, but yeah. So once it squeezes down, it really helps spread that glue out. And I used a 1/8 notch trowel, V-notch trowel. Here's 15, just a lot more squeeze out everywhere, and then 20 with tons of squeeze out everywhere. I mean, almost the whole bottom's coated. This one, as I took it out, the corner got lifted up a little bit, so I'll start the peel test from another side. Alrighty, so we'll start with number 10, or well, 10 grams of glue. And yeah, and I scored the surface with a brush this time, so it should be pretty similar to the dog brush. Yeah, so we'll see how well this held. It is very well bonded in terms of the flatness and the evenness of the bond. I mean, there are no hollow spots in there, so I'm very, very pleased with that. Vacuum bagging is definitely the answer for getting a really nice clamp onto the surface. So yeah, let's start. What should I do? I'll start somewhere hard first. There's no edge. No, that's not even. Alright, that other table had way too much wiggling going on with my crappy tripod, so here we go. Set up with you guys on one table and me on this table. Yeah, so here's the 10. I had just started peeling the corner, and I'm going to use the same method as the other times where I'm kind of wedging my hand down in here. And we'll take a look at the back of the fiberglass panel and see how uniform our adhesion is and stuff like that. There we go. I guess we'll kind of go. All right. So, perfect adhesion, basically, right? I don't see any spots that are that are light. Maybe I could have done my scouring deeper. As you can see that you can see the lines from the brush in both directions, but they're a little bit light. So I definitely think that's an improvement. And yeah, no, not a single spot was missed glue-wise, so pretty happy with that. Going to the 15. And yeah, my biggest concern was if any of these would have glue oozing out of them. So even the 10 does that. So we'll see how hard it is to peel each one of these, and you know, maybe the slightly higher glue amount makes it harder to peel, but I think with it pushing out the edges that it's basically moot. Yeah, that's a basically identical force. And again, really good coverage. Again, I could scratch deeper, so that'll definitely be the move going forward. And then I'm guessing that the 20 is going to have similar peel characteristics. Yeah. I'm a little interested if the 10 and 15 are already so similar. I kind of want to just try beating up the 20, see what it takes to get D-lam with a hammer or something, so I'll go grab that. Alrighty, so I guess we'll start with the wider hammer. We'll just be nice and soft. Go to this guy, a little more of a point load. Yeah, that definitely crushed it a bit. Let's try another. That's okay. Alright, and then we'll do one last big hit with the large hammer over here, and we'll peel it and see what sort of delamination or damage we got. Oh yeah. That definitely did something. Yeah, so definitely need to make deeper scores. This one came out slightly pockmarked. I wonder if that's from the hammering. But the surface of the foam basically looks flat still. And I mean, even if it didn't survive the heaviest hammer hit, that's more than what I need. Yeah, so up next, I'll be making a big panel. I think I have about 6 feet left of my sheet of 400, Foamular 400, the 40 psi, and it's 4 feet wide. So I'll try and do a big lamination, double-sided, unlike these test pieces. I'll do deeper scoring. I'll target 10-ish grams. Maybe I'll do a smidge more to feel safe with the new deeper grooves. And I'll make it 4 foot by 6 foot and vacuum bag the whole thing and just do a nice big, kind of my final test panel before I commit to buying, you know, $1,000 worth of foam and waiting till I'm ready to actually start making the real panels, which will be after the aluminum frame has been built and things like that. But I want to lock in the materials now. So yeah, next video should be pretty interesting.